am the most fabulous, faithful traitor.
I'm a faithful. So I hope that makes you guys feel great.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. I've decided to combine episode 10 and 11 just because I'm very sad about episode 10, the fact that Phaedra gets to go home. I know she was a traitor, but I really loved how she played the game with integrity, with as much honesty as she could, and how she protected the people that she really loved. And she even said it that, you know, she got them, she was happy that at the final five was comprised of people that she really liked and people she really cared for. But Trishelle, I think Trishelle was just there because of CT. But anyway, I digress. Hey there, thanks for stopping by. It's your girl Valerie. Welcome to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, click the like button, turn on the notification bell for when I upload new videos, and definitely leave a comment. In this episode, I'll be reviewing The Traitors USA, Season 2, Episode 10 and 11. So the episode starts with a tie between Phaedra and Peter, and they're sort of wondering who's going to be sent home. Anyway, eventually you have MJ vote for Peter, and you can see Trishelle is heartbroken that Phaedra didn't go home. She's been gunning for Phaedra with no evidence but the fact that Dan gave her a bone. Had Dan not thrown Phaedra's name in the mix, they would never have sussed her out because she was playing a very good game. So I'm really sad about that. CT, yeah, I hate the fact that he turned on Phaedra because Phaedra has kept him in the game. She really has. And so the idea that he would be the one that would want to banish her doesn't make sense to me. In the morning, obviously, Phaedra and Kate decide to kill off someone. In the morning, you have MJ and Sandra be the first to walk in, followed by CT, followed by Phaedra, and Sheree is next to walk in, followed by Trishelle and Kate. And you can see that people are suspecting Phaedra. I don't think people have evidence, because if they had evidence, they would have got Phaedra out the very first moment that her name was sort of mentioned. But the fact that they've gone by what Trishelle has said, and Trishelle has sort of been the champion for Phaedra, I am not buying it. I think they're just doing it just because they're all Trishelle's pawns, in my opinion, because there's a lot of videos online of Trishelle going against women of color while she was on the challenge, and her comments about her having said very controversial stuff. So I'm really not a fan of Trishelle. And sadly for her, I think going on Traitors hasn't done much for her per se, because people are now bringing up old stuff about her, stuff like when she had a fight with Anissa and after she said something very racial, and she actually apologized for making a racial comment. So the idea that she championed for Peppermint to go home, and then she's been championing for Phaedra. She's been unsuccessful, but she has really tried her best to send Phaedra home. And so for me, I don't get it. And the fact that apparently in the finale she played MJ just proves the point to me. I guess you could say that, you know, Trishelle got her wish, in the sense that she finally got to banish Phaedra. But at the end of the day, if you look at it, the only reason why Trishelle is still standing is because of CT. Because Phaedra really liked CT, and she knew that CT's closest person was Trishelle. In my opinion, she could have easily banished Trishelle. She could have so easily banished Trishelle and then went after John the next day because, you know, but I guess when they said that he was more eloquent in what he said and he commanded the room, it made sense. But Trishelle could have gone ages ago, before Kevin, before Bergie. But they kept Trishelle on the show, I think, because Phaedra was protecting her for CT. And to see everyone at the round table, MJ and Sheree were protected by Phaedra. Sandra became friends with Phaedra, and Phaedra protected her. So I get where Phaedra is coming from when she says that I am happy that everybody at the round table, or everybody left, is everybody that I wanted to be there. So though she didn't get any kills, she protected the people that she liked and the people that she wanted to be on the show. CT was right to say she's the best traitor they've had. I haven't watched season 1, and I might watch season 1, but in my opinion, Phaedra has been the best and will always be the best. I don't think they'll ever get a traitor that will surpass her. She was right to say, I'm tired, I don't want to fight anymore, I'm fed up of fighting for myself, because she could have easily turned it on someone, but she couldn't turn it because she had protected all those people but Trishelle. That's the only person she didn't protect. So she could have easily turned it on Trishelle, but she couldn't because of her friendship with CT. So that's why she didn't go after anybody, in my opinion, because Kate and her were traitors. So she couldn't do the Dan thing and sort of throw Kate under the bus. But instead, she decided to bow her head and just walk out, with her head held high. And I'm so proud of her. I don't think anyone could have done anything she's done thus far. So I'm so proud of Phaedra. I really am. She's played the game and she's been able to protect the people that she wanted. And even when she was thrown under the bus, she never threw any of the other traitors under the bus. I couldn't be more proud. So after Phaedra leaves, you have people sort of talking and saying that we mustn't become complacent because there could be another traitor or two left in the castle. And apparently MJ had been floating Sandra's name about. And Kate is trying to get the heat off herself. So she's going to try and throw somebody else under the bus, which makes sense. Sandra feels some type of way about the personal comment that Kate made towards Phaedra, in the sense that she called her selfish. I think what she was trying to do was, or what she was trying to say is, Phaedra didn't play a smart game per se, in the sense that she allowed her heart to rule who she was going to kill off. Because had she not had an emotional connection to a lot of people, she should have killed Trishelle, she should have killed CT, she should have killed MJ, she should have killed Sandra. But because they were people that she was very close to, she kept them around, and now she's in a position whereby she's vulnerable. I think that's what she meant. So in the talk, Alan comes to join Kate and they have a conversation, and Kate sort of knows that the Bravo people are under a microscope, in the sense that everyone is suspecting that, one of them is or not, or all of them are traitors. And so she sort of contemplates killing off Sheree because MJ's got a shield, which, yeah, I get it. And I think for Sheree, this is what showed her that Phaedra is the reason why she stayed on the show. Phaedra has kept her on the show all along, regardless of whether people suspected or not, because there were some killings that didn't make sense. But Phaedra, I think, always went to bat for Sheree and CT, and I think this is why she was heartbroken when CT mentioned her name. In the morning, all the girls come down and Sheree doesn't come down. Obviously, she's been killed off. Kate is trying to get the heat off herself, and it's like, I don't get it. I guess it makes sense because there's only 3 people left. So if she had killed Sandra, then it should have been very suspicious. I think she should have killed Kate irregardless. I think the producers saved Kate and kept her around for some reason best known to them. CT says his game will be a lot better if Trishelle comes back, which makes me believe that they were both playing either side. So CT was playing the Sandra and sort of Phaedra group, whereas Kate was in the other group with Peter, and then they were both going to come together at the end. That's the impression that I get. So Alan comes through to reveal that Sheree has been banished, and now it's time for the final game, the final mission before the round table and the banishment of one more person. And so for me, it's I don't like Trishelle. I don't know why Trishelle is there. I think Trishelle should have been killed. I think she was saved for 2 reasons. I think one, because she's CT's friend. And I think Trishelle went hard on Phaedra because Phaedra lit CT's smoke, which made her CT's number 1. And Trishelle couldn't stand the idea that Phaedra was going to be CT's number 1. And also the fact that I think she's got a thing with people of color. That's my opinion, and I'm going to stick to it. If you want more information, go on Twitter. You'll see loads of videos of things that she's done that are very controversial. Anyway, so you have the remaining sort of people in the castle sort of having conversations between who they think is a traitor, because they're questioning whether there's 1 or 2. Sadly, the targets have sort of shifted to 2 people. One, it's Kate, because of her comments to Phaedra. They were a bit below the belt. I think what she was trying, I've said this before, I think she was trying to sort of explain to Phaedra why she's in the predicament she's in, because she didn't participate in the killings. She allowed Dan and Poverty to run the game instead of doing any of the bad work. I think because she thought if she stayed in the shadows, that was her saving grace. And for Sandra, sadly, I don't know why they've targeted her. I think it's just because she's one survivor twice, and so people are intimidated by her because of that. And this is why they've decided to sort of choose her and sort of make her a target for banishment. They then go outside and they're taken off to their next mission by a helicopter. Oh my God, I want to get on a helicopter once. We'll see. Is it just me, or does anyone else's dislike for Trishelle grow with every passing episode or every passing scene? So they get this challenge whereby they're supposed to sort of pick up or solve riddles along the way. So there's 3 stops, and then they have to get to the boat and lift up the sail for the monies that they've raised and the main sail. And I think this is why they kept CT in the game, because CT is the one who won them that money. The girls, some of them were just there just for display, because you had Trishelle run to the front with Sandra, and it's like, Trishelle, you're someone from the challenge. How is it you don't want to complete missions? Make that make sense? That doesn't make sense to me. You should be after completing missions. You should be after making as much money as possible for your group. So the idea that you would be there and you just run to the front and want to stay there and not participate doesn't make any sense to me. I was actually surprised by MJ. I was actually pleasantly surprised by MJ that she did most of the work. So that to me was shocking. Kate was just there for performance. Kate was just there for display, because at one point you had Alan sort of having to shout at her and point her towards the rope for the mainsail, because she was just standing around and looking. And so they won the prize pot, which was $50,000. So that's good. And for me, I think if nothing else, AJ deserves a big chunk of that, because she really put in work. I didn't expect that from her. She really put in work, so I'm really proud of her for all her effort. CT won it for them. CT did the majority. CT more or less carried the 4 ladies on his back, and they were just there on a sunny day, just out for a cruise. That's my opinion. It's interesting that when they come back to the castle, there is conversation taking place. Obviously, Trishelle has managed. I feel like Trishelle has run her game through other people, in the sense that she hasn't wanted to be or appear to be the one in charge, but she's been in charge. She's the one who started championing. As soon as Dan left, she's the one who brought Phaedra's name to the Faithfuls. And now she's bringing Kate's name to CT, which makes me believe that she's been running this game, but she's been running it in the shadows and pretending like she's innocent, and sort of throwing a rock and then hiding her hand and pretending like she doesn't know who threw it. Because the fact that she's spoken to Sandra, and they're now sitting with Sandra and CT, and they're having this conversation about banishing Kate, and it's like, yeah, Kate is a traitor, but I don't like the idea of Trishelle still being in the castle. That's my honest opinion. I think Trishelle should have gone home a long time ago, the moment she came after Peppermint. Had they not sent Maxim home, I wish they had sent Trishelle, but I don't know. I think people were leaving when they wanted to leave because they had other commitments, because Phaedra this time didn't fight at the round table, which makes me believe that she was ready to go home. So I'm really curious as to who's going to be banished, because you then have Kate speaking to Sandra, and Sandra lets her know that, CT has told her that they're trying to get Sandra out. And you then have this agreement again that, okay, the city is being thrown under the bus, and everyone is throwing everybody under the bus, and Kate is enjoying this. In my opinion, I think that the final 5 should have excluded Sandra and Trishelle. I think Phaedra should have been in the final 5, and maybe John should have been in the final 5, because he's really shown himself to be very diverse and a very strategic player. And I really like the game that they've played. I feel sorry that Johnny was the first person killed off by Dan's ego, but hey, it is what it is. They then convene around the round table for the final debate. So at the round table, you have people, fighting for their lives. So you have CT be the first one to throw Kate under the bus, and then Kate retaliates and throws Sandra and CT under the bus, because she's saying, I came into the game, I knew who the traitors were, but I was able to sort of fly under the radar. She was asked, you were friends with Phaedra. Did you know she was a traitor? Yes, I did. So why did you align yourself with her? Well, she's a Bravo person. I'm a Bravo person. So if she was a traitor, she was going to save me. And Sandra said the same thing, that, I aligned myself with Phaedra and Sheree because I wanted protection. And when Dan left, I thought Dan was protecting me. But when Dan left, I realized that I had traitor angels. And that's the truth. Sandra was able to be saved by Phaedra to get to where she is. And people have to give Phaedra that credit. CT has to give Phaedra that credit, because they could have easily saved Bananas, because he's a workhorse as well. So it's not the fact that CT is the workhorse. It's the fact that Phaedra really liked CT. That's why she kept him till the very end. And if nothing else, he has to give her credit for that. And I'm surprised he didn't give her credit when Sandra did. And I think CT threw Kate under the bus to anger Sandra and make sure that Sandra definitely voted for Kate. That's just me thinking. So they voted out Sandra. Everybody voted for Sandra bar Sandra. And I think Trishelle and CT played Sandra because they realized during the debate that if they kept Sandra and they kicked out Trishelle, then Sandra and MJ could have easily taken them out. So it was more a strategic, not that they thought Sandra was a traitor, but it was more a strategic vote in the sense that they decided to go for someone who they thought was the most threat. And because Sandra's already won Survivor twice, they knew they couldn't take her out. So this is why they chose to kick her out at the banishment, knowing full well that she was not a traitor, knowing full well that Kate was a traitor. And so they wanted to go to the final vote and vote out Kate because they already knew she was a traitor. And then once Kate's gone, they could do whatever they wanted with MJ because MJ doesn't have the numbers anymore because her number is Sandra and Sandra's gone. So outside by the fire pit, the 4 remaining participants are asked, do you want us to end the game or do you want to have a banishment? And they knew for a fact that Kate was a traitor. They decided not to vote her out because they wanted to get Sandra out to reduce the numbers. And so they voted Kate out the first time. Then they were asked, do you want to share the spoils or do you still want to have another banishment? And they decided to go for a second banishment. That to me didn't make sense. I understand they trust each other because they know each other from the challenge, but I don't think CT and Trishelle needed to do that to MJ, given the fact that she put her body into this, her mind into this. I'm not saying everybody else didn't do it, but especially with the last challenge, the way she was willing to sort of put in work to actually participate and not just be a body on the boat or even running to sort of go into the deep waters to get the clues. I feel bad for her. I really feel bad for her. And I think because CT, I've watched him on the challenge. The last time he won the challenge with Casey, they won $1 million and they had the opportunity to split it halfway. They decided to take a fraction of that and gave it to the other people that had participated. So they took 400 apiece and then gave the other guys 200 to divide amongst the 4 of them. So the idea that CT would have voted MJ out, even though everybody knew MJ was so faithful, I think this was all down to Trishelle. I feel sorry for MJ because sadly she voted out her number by voting out Sandra, because had she stayed with Sandra and with Kate, they could have taken out Trishelle, which would have left CT on his own. But it seemed like they were outplayed, outsmarted by CT and Trishelle, and it's very sad. It really is sad that this is where they went. It was only $250 for the love of Christ. If it was more than that, then I would say, oh, it was worth, breaking somebody's heart. I feel sorry for Trishelle and I can't wait for the reunion. Thanks guys for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, comment and subscribe, and click the link in my video to watch my review from episode 9. Bye guys.